Whew. Hey folks. Well, sorry about the slightly late start. One of the problems with being borderline ADHD, I suppose, is you get good and distracted by pretty much everything. So, yeah. What's the thing I need to click? Not that, not that, not that. That thing. Yeah! There we go. I'm not sure that's much of an improvement, but we can sort of see things now, which is good, I guess. Is it? Can you see things? Can you hear things? Apparently my webcam is broadcasting audio. That appears to be working. Is anybody watching? Who cares? Right, what have I been doing this past week? Not a great deal, really. No, not a great deal. Looking around for things I've painted in the last week, and there isn't really much. I suppose I've retouched my demons a little bit, but not much. Painted this thing, which is kind of cool, and we haven't quite finished it yet. I'll put some more highlights in there a little bit, but not too many, because it's, you know, supposed to be grimdark rather than highlighted, but I might put some accent points in there. Very cool miniature to paint, and I suppose it's quite useful that he's got his own cover that he carries around the battlefield with him. So that's him. That's pretty much the extent of what I've done. I haven't been very productive. Hobby-wise anyway, I've been productive in other areas, but you're not here for that. Are you? No, you're not here for that. Right, so what am I going to do tonight? I am going to paint some zombogs. Zombogs from the Warhammer Cursed City set. Sorry, quick swig of water there. Now these minis are amazing. I have a particular style for my Cursed City miniatures, which I will demonstrate. Now bear in mind I painted these a long time ago, and they might not be quite up to my current snuff, but I was going for a very sort of grim, even more grimdark than normal kind of approach, and almost a graphic novel kind of sketchy style. So that's that dude, whose name I can't remember. He's a vampire hunter. I'm getting the feeling there might be vampires in this game. These are covered in cobwebs, which actually kind of adds to the effect. That's that dude. Yeah, they really do add to the effect. I might leave that in place rather than trying to blow that away. With a black background, that guy looks really. Have I got a black background? Blackish. Yeah, you can sort of see the OSL, but he looks very cool against a black background. This dude, whom I need to base, because there's a definite style to my bases for this. I've decided that the Cursed City, the name of which I cannot remember for the life of me, is probably in Shaiish. And I should know this because, you know, I've got the audio book and everything, so, you know. But I have a feeling it's in Shaiish. I have a feeling it was called something, and then it was called something else when the vampires took over. But I think it's in Shaiish. So that's why we've got purple, kind of sparkly bits, because I put glitter on the bases. Because, you know, that's fun. So he needs purpling on his bases. That's the main dude. I'll show you in a sec. There's this dude. So again, you can see I'm going for even more grimdark than normal sort of feel to the whole thing. And I can't remember. Oh, I did use some metallics on some of them. Characters, I didn't use any metallics, so that very dulled down brass there is. Oh, that's got a slight sheen. Oh, I know what I did. Yeah, it's NMM, but let me just fish it out. I did use a little bit of quote-unquote metallic on it because I used. Is that it? Come here. No, not that. Is that it? And that's it, but the wrong colour. That's gloss varnish. One of these days, I will tidy up my hobby area and then not be able to find anything. In a fit of irony. Is that it? That might be it. No, that's not it. Oh, come here, the large tank. Go somewhere else. Go sit over there for a bit. Right. That's blue. That's not what I want. That's gold. That's not what I want either. There we are. Typical. Last one you're looking for. That tiny little bit of that to give the idea of a slight purple light in the atmosphere, because Shaiish is made of purple. Shaiish, if you don't know, is the realm plane, I guess, of the dead. So there's lots of undead and dead things. Quite why you'd have undead on the planes of the dead, I don't know. That seems kind of I think Nagash is kind of missing the point there. That's the gravedigger dude. I think I might have used a bit of metallic there as well, actually. Yeah, because he's not a hero, very much not. And then there's that dude. No metallic used there. And this lady, who isn't at all based on Brienne of Tarth. No, no. Hi, Kev. And the big bad himself, who has a little bit of metallic on him. That's all done with oil paint, because oil paint is awesome. And that's how he came out. So yeah, sort of real sort of grimdark graphic novel kind of style I was going for there, and I think it more or less got there. They're going to be super fun to have to play with. I'm going to put them aside and get the point of why we're all here. Well, it's the point of why I'm here. That's these guys. They are zombies. Brains. Do I want anything else while I'm here? Oh, I might grab a few other bits ones because it's all black primed and grey zenithal, so it's all ready for contrast paints. And there's another zombie. I knew if I looked I'd find something else. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. These dudes are a bit special. I mean, a lot of people hate these zombies. They think they look silly, but I love them because they tell their own story. They are fantastic miniatures. Because if I don't know whether you can see, you will note they are all carrying their gravestones on their back, but let's get a pointy thing. They all have a stake running from the the gravestone down through the body. So they have been put in the ground and staked. And even the stone gravestones have a stake that goes through the body, and you will notice that all of them have been buried face down. So in theory they can't claw their way out of their grave because they're facing the wrong way. If they dig downwards. I think that's a bit of real world folklore, but I couldn't tell you which part of the world it's from. I would suspect somewhere out Russia kind of way. It's that kind of weird sort of Slavic disturbing folklore stuff. I think it's from out that way. But that is a really nice nod that you don't often see in Games Workshop miniatures. What else was there? I was going to point something else out and I've completely forgotten what I was going to point out. Yeah, you can see a few of these are hanged criminals as well. Still got the noose around the necks. It's very cool. But there's bags of character to these, which is why I would love them. And one of these... Oh, they're just so cool. Aren't they cool? Tell me they're cool. One of these... Oh yeah, there she is. That hat just reminds me so much of a painting, or that whole outfit really reminds me so much of a painting by Johannes Vermeer, who's a Dutch painter from I don't know, before I was born, which is a long time ago, who did a very famous painting called The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which see if I can call it up. No, we're not behaving. What about that? There we go. Very famous painting, and you can see, if I get that out slightly out of the way, let's chuck that in the corner there. Where did I put her? I put her down and I will never find her again. There we go. So that sort of headdress is quite similar. So I think I'm going to probably end up painting her as a dead version of the Girl with the Pearl Earring, because that's how I operate, and I think that'll be fun. There's another one there. Oh, she's got a sister. There we go. Don't need that anymore. Cool. Right, let's get cracking. So it's all going to be super simple because these are cannon fodder. So this will be all sort of contrast paint based. So I think for the girl, let's start with the Girl with the Pearl Earring. One of them. Which one do you want? Left or right? Answers on a postcard. Oh god, they're identical, aren't they? Oh no, they're not. Ooh, subtle difference. Ah, legs. That's why it's different. Left or right? Come on, guys. I'm going to choose in a sec. 5, 4, 3, 2. No choice. Right. Okay. Cool. Let's do that one. We're going to do them all, but let's start with Vermeer. The Vermeer one. So I'm going to start out with a bit of. Let's have her up in the corner so we can actually see what we're doing. Oh, hello, Mick. Thank you for that. Always appreciated. Yeah, let's pop the window up in the corner. Let's drag it off to the side so we've just got her. So she's got a very sort of pale mustard yellow kind of. I think that's possibly a Yandan yellow. But washed down. Maybe not. maybe Imperial Fist, with a bit of maybe Mortarian Grime, which is a shade. Skeleton Horde. Dropped her into a hole. Mick, that's not how you parent. Dude. Don't drop your sister. Don't drop your daughter into a hole. Not good. Sure you did. Right, sort of a mustard yellow, so we're going to water this down a touch. Get some water on there. And it's going to be mucky anyway, so but this is where we're going to start. So she's got that kind of yellow dress. And the fact that we've got a grey Xenotholt is going to take a lot away from the saturation as well, and add to that grim dark feel. It's almost as if I knew what I was doing. Almost. Oh gosh, this dress is kind of slinky, I've got to say. It's kind of reminiscent of a wedding dress, I'm not going to lie. I suspect there probably was that kind of intention. Yep, so this is Imperial Fists Yellow, which is one of the new ones, with a tiny bit of water. And we're just slapping that on and letting it do its thing inside the dress there. And that's a slightly different colour, so we'll go in with there we go. I don't know whether you can see that, but she's been spiked through the head with one of the one of the railing spikes as well. Oh, she's not had a good day. Right. What are we going to do next? We use... I can never remember which one of this is. Right, yeah, let's use that. No, let's not use that one. Let's use the other one. And use a bit of Pilar Glacier. I would have thought Arnold de Gans would be going absolutely nuts, seeing as I'm emulating a Dutch painter here, but you know, maybe he's not listening. When was he doing business? Johannes Vermeer. When was he doing business? Johannes Vermeer. Dutch painter, Baroque period, whenever that was. Between baptized 1632 and died 1675, so mid 1600s. Mid 1600s he was doing his thing. I don't need that anymore. I think I've got the base colours down, so we'll turn that off. He lives! Alright. Ooh, that works quite well. I'm not going to go over the top to try and make it look identical, because I think that probably would be a little bit beyond me. But I can certainly get the colours in the right sort of places. And this, I mean, I kind of like this paint, but it's a bit wishy-washy. Okay, who wants a blue shirt or something? See, I'm also kind of trying to think in terms of what colours would be. I mean, some of these would be well-to-do people, but most of them would be kind of peasants. And I'm trying to think what colours would be cheap in terms of dye. So we'd be looking at browns and greens and reds and mustards and that sort of thing. Probably not so much in the way of blue. Oh, she looks wedding dressy, doesn't she? What are we going to do with you? I think we'll lighten up that dress in a sec. But we've got... I think we need to start getting a production line going, otherwise we're not going to get anywhere with these guys. Okay, so yellow and blue done on that one, so set up a production line. And let's start with a nice, no, not that, we'll use that for the skin, a skeleton horde maybe. Yeah, okay, skeleton horde will come out as a nice sort of dun, bony colour, which will work on some of the cloth. So let's see what on here, what we could do. A skeleton horde. Okay, let's do her hat that colour. And this is why I do the Zenithal, because your highlights and your shades are all automatically right there. And now, anything else that needs to be that sort of colour? There's a skull there, that better be a skull sort of colour. And done. Next. Yeah, that's blocking the big areas, so he's got some brown trousers. And there'll be bits of skin showing through that, which I will either fill in later or I won't. Because the idea with these is you're just trying to churn them out so that they'll look okay on the table and not outshine the heroes, because the heroes need to look cool. What's he got going in there? Is that a beard? Yeah, okay. So, right, bony bits done on him. Oh, some nice parchment there. That could be bony colour. Rotted parchment. He says ping it off into the middle of nowhere. There's that. Noose around his neck is looking kind of ropey coloured. Anything else on there? No, we'll do his trousers a different colour, shall we? Okay. Anything you need there to be sort of bone coloured? Again, I think we're probably looking at trousers there, aren't we? Oh no, there's a bit of, yeah, his skull's showing through, so we'll put that in. And that's probably carved, but they will have painted it to look like a skull, so we'll go in with that as well. And down and up. That's wedding dress girl. Let's give her dirty blonde hair. There's always got to be a zombie in a wedding dress, isn't there? Seems one of those things. There we go. And that works quite well as a dirty blonde, I think. Who doesn't love a dirty blonde? There we go. And again, with the rope, it needs to be vaguely sort of rope coloured. I'm going to be using so much typhus corrosion and mud and all kinds of other stuff on these because they've crawled out of the ground and they're going to look proper grody. Do people still say grody? I don't think they do. Proper grimy and filthy and horrible. So I don't think anyone in this country particularly ever said grody. So I don't know why I did. But yeah, maybe not. I think it's very much an Americanism, grody. West Coast. Are you wearing a shirt? Why? No, oh, ooh, is that skin? No, that's not skin. That's bone. I see bone. Right there. There we go. Yeah, let's get a bit of, just to tie you into the rest of the boys. I'll give you brown trousers. Because if there's anywhere on the realms where you're going to have brown trousers, it's probably the cursed city, because it is not a pleasant place to be. She looks like another wedding dress type, which looks more like a wedding dress. They both kinda. I think we'll go with this as a wedding dress. Let's find something else to do that in grey. Oh, you're gonna have fun with these guys. I do like the these models, without exception, are fantastic, and I don't just mean the zombies. I mean everything that comes in that box is brilliant. Just so full of character and tells its own story. It's just yeah. Let's give her a mucky brown dress to differentiate her from the slightly more white, although it won't be white at the end, dress of the bridal gown. And we're going to make her probably a... Let's make her a redhead, because why not? And to do that, I lost track of that Klimt painting. Klimt? Not Klimt, Vermeer. colour hair does she have? Oh, she doesn't have hair. Very. Oh, there's no hair there. No hair showing there anyway. Okay, cool. Moving on. I think I will need, for my next trick, some Fuegan orange. And we're going to go back the other way, because I want to get that red hair in. Inks and thin contrast paints are the way forward with this. Oh, that's not quite the right colour, although it definitely sells as red. What I don't want to do is use the orange contrast paint, because that's one of their single pigment ones from the new range. And that won't half be orange. No, actually, let's go for it. Oh, I wasn't hard to convince there, was I? Magma Droth Flame. Knock a bit of that in there anyway. And we'll dry brush over that to make it look ginger rather than bright orange. Unless she's dyed her hair. Well, she certainly died. Right, any orange on any of these other ones? Probably not. No, there's not any orange on her. Nope, not any orange on her. Nope, don't think so. I'll put the orange away. Oh, next, red. Red, I'm going to use, no, I'm not going to use that actually, I'm going to use the ball red. I am good, Mr. Autism, how are you? Right, I'm looking for flowers and things. No roses or anything on her, so she can go down again. Some rose, there's a rose there, let's have that rose in. There we are. And a splash of colour. All kinds of roses there. I think I might stick some Druki Violet over there and subdue them down once we're done here. Oh, that's not good, mate. Still, at least you're getting help, and that's good. Because depression's not fun at the best of times. It's one of these things that, by its very nature, just compels you to sit with it and suffer. So it's a really positive step that you're going to help and get help. That's good. Let's give him some red trousers. Because I reckon that's probably part of the uniform of this guy. Probably not that red though. No, let's go with it. To the devil with it all. Let's just make it very red, because it's going to not be very red in a bit. Because once all the colours are down, I'm going to be going over most, if not all of these, with a mix of burnt senna and ivory black oil paints. Which is going to bring everything down and really make it really dark and dingy and mucky. Which is what we want. Right, okay, so he's got some nice red trousers. That belt's going to be black. I'll pop him to the side. You got anything red on you? I know what I'll do red. I've got that necklace thing there. That can be red. There we are. Oh, there's one on the grave as well. Let's do that as well. That might be your sweetheart's charm that they've left on the grave to make out that they were so miserable that you're gone. A semi-Sigma vibe from this one. So let's get some red on there, just to make out that the marker's been painted at one point. It's not going to stay that way. Yep. Anything on you that needs to be red? Nah. Anything here? More flowers. More flowers. This production line method is probably the best way to rattle through a large number of miniatures. If I'm really going at it, I'll be using airbrush, but then I really wouldn't know what to do with the other sort of hour. Some roses on her. Is that a rose? What's that? I can't see what that is. Definitely some roses there. And I guess there's going to be some green there as well. You can probably hear my cat mithering around in the background because that's what he does. Thankfully he doesn't jump up on the painting table when I'm painting and doing other things, because I got into the habit of whenever he did that, I picked him up and put him down on the floor again, and eventually you don't do it. The way I see it, he can have full run of the house when he pays rent. Right. Oh, missed a bit there. Nope, that's Mortarian grime. Where is it? Not that. No. Where'd I put it? Oh, there it is. Missed a bit of the dress. You always miss a bit. Right, okay, so now we are going to get one of my favourite paints from the new range. We are going to give this one a good shake. because this is going to go an awful lot of places. Garagak's sewers. Still don't know who Garagak is. Answers on a postcard. Let's go back the other way now. So go over the railings, I think. And that sells as a really nice sort of, probably can't see under the lights, really nice sort of rusty brown on metal. Let's move that over to the side slightly so we're not going to knock it over, because I can see that happening. There we go. Rusty metal down. I mean, it also adds it's a nice base coat for leathers and all sorts of other stuff. I think that's all. Oh no, let's have what's that? Some sort of charm. Is it a metal charm or a wooden charm or just a bit? Let's have it metal, because why not? Don't know what it is, so paint it brown. It'll probably be okay. Right, more railings. Zip, zip. You can almost get a bit impressionist about this, because there's going to be some green in the background for the foliage of the roses, so we'll get on that in a sec. Green's a nice cheap colour, dye wise, so there'll be lots of green featuring in the clothing, I would have thought. Although there's a definite theme to the people of the Cursed City, which name of which I will remember at some point. Hello, Mark H. I will remember what the name of the city was called. But it was a Sigmarite city, and now it is no longer. There's not really any metal on there, is there? Oh, there. Oh, there's a lock there. See what I was saying about nice touches. There's a lock and iron bindings on the coffin lid. So not only was he buried face down and staked, he was also locked into his coffin. Beautiful little bits of storytelling. So they definitely didn't want him coming back. And, well, they didn't get that wish. There's another lock at this end. Yeah, they really didn't want him coming back. I wonder what he did. Who he upset. If you upset the powers that be in the Cursed City, you get turned into these guys. But the burying of them would have been done by the townsfolk. So whatever that chap did, he must have upset the townfolk. Okay, you can have a nice iron bowl there. Oh, who's Garagak? That's really going to bother me now. I'm going to have to look it up. But not yet. Right, so that's going to be all wood, I think. They wouldn't waste any metal on his gravestone, or would they? Oh well, we'll do it brown anyway. It can either be metal or it can be painted brown. Don't much care. Let's get some more colour on these things. Slay that grey, as Nin John would say. And it's such a beautiful colour, this. It's so rich and dark, and love it. Love it, love it, love it. Right, anything on there needs to be brown. Probably not. Nope. No metal on her. A few locks and bits on him. For those of you just joining us, I'm using Garagak's Sewer here because it's a nice rusty brown metal. And all of these miniatures started off with a black prime. Was it black or was it dark brown? A dark grey. It might have been dark grey actually, now I think about it. Should have been a black prime. And a grey zenithal, light grey zenithal. And this was done about 6 months after Cursed City came out, because it took me that long to get hold of a copy, and then they go and re-release it. Typical. But I didn't pay over the odds for it. I saw on eBay they were going for like 300, 400 quid, 500 quid sometimes. And there was no way I was paying for that. So, through a friend, I got it for, well, retail price really, and including postage. So, I did okay there. He's got kind of a beard thing going on there, so let's give him a brown beard. Any more for any more? Yep, there we go. That will be metal. Sort of like ironwork filigree on the back of his gravestone there, or the front of his gravestone as it is. Right, there we go, that's that done. Not really. Oh, there's writing on there. That's Cyrillic. Or nearly Cyrillic. So there we go. So definitely sort of Russian-y, Slavic kind of out that way. Oh, Mr. Flower. Mr. Flower. Emergency. With a blood red flower on the front of this guy's gravestone. There. So we'll get his counterpart, because there'll be a flower there as well. I'll have missed that, and I did. Is that a flower? It probably is a flower, but it's going to be green in a sec because we're moving on to the greens. Let's move on. So we're either going Creed camo or we're going Militarum green. Let's go with Militarum green because that's a bit more, it's less saturated. And a bit brighter. One moment. It's going on the jiggly jiggly machine. That's what that noise is. I'm not particularly worried about the shades of green because green, there are just so many shades of green in nature. It really is mind-blowing how easy it is to mix different shades of green, so I'm not going to worry too much. But that's a nice natural foliage kind of green. So let's get cracking with that. Good night, Arnold. Thanks for stopping in. Early to bed, I suppose that's what you get for being an hour ahead of us, isn't it? That'll learn you, as they say. Well, as they don't say. Shall we give this one a green dress? What do we reckon, people? Green dress? I think we're veering towards that point, aren't we? Pink dress. Pink is a cheap dye, so yeah, possibly. How would I go about doing that? Because it would have to be the right shade of... We'll come back to that. Because we're doing the greens at the moment. So there's lots of bits of grass. What I might do is add bits of tufts, grass tufts. So I've got a few lying around from things I ripped off bases, that sort of thing. I might add a few of them to the tops of the graves. Or I might not. That might draw a little bit too much attention to them, and they're not. They shouldn't really be drawing a lot of focus. They need to have that sort of horde vibe. So they need to have that sort of well enough painted so they don't look bad, but not sort of. There's no point in spending an awful lot of time on them. There's the grass done on that. Tell you what, you can have a pink dress. Oh no, you're our bride. You won't have a pink dress. Corpse Bride. I mean, yeah, I could. Wasn't she dressed in Oh, I'm gonna have to check that now. Oh, don't distract me like that. I think these guys are a bit too grimdark for Tim Burton. Ooh, I've seen that configuration before. Where have I seen that configuration? Was it there? Nope. Wasn't that one. I don't know. Ignore it, press on. Green, we've got the green there. There we are. More there. Bits of grass poking through. Lovely. Cool. He's got red trousers. He can have green trousers. Don't forget his bum. Right, are we all painted? I think we are. I think we are. Yep. Anything else I want green? No, not you. You've got that. You're fine. She was going to have a pink dress, wasn't she? So let's think about how we're going to do that, because I don't want to do it pink, pink. So what we will probably end up doing, for a pinkish, don't want to get too distracted here, otherwise you'll lose track of time. I think we'll go for a Berserker Bloodshade, which will give it a good opportunity to demonstrate this ink, because this ink is lovely. So it's not really pink, it's going to be a sort of a deep pink, almost crimson. But desaturated, which is key. Which gives it a kind of a sheer look as well, which is kind of cool. This Berserker Bloodshade is just brilliant for, well, blood. Or rather the base shade for blood before you go in with something like Blood for the Blood God, or other brands are available. Okay, is that off the shoulder? I think it is an off the shoulder number. There we are, we'll just go around the edge there. Soak up some of the pools. And that's a kind of a nice desaturated dirty pink, I think. Right. Let's go back to the Vermeer girl, I think, because I want to get some shade on her. because I don't think that headband's quite looking right. So we're going to get some of this Tyron Blue, which is one of the new shades. Just going to run that over the top of the contrast paint I used, which was BRAAAAIINS. Just to deepen that down a bit. Yeah, don't be with a pearl earring. We are getting to the point where, okay, let's do the wood. What are we going to do with the wood? What are we going to do with the wood? What are we going to do for the wood? I think we are going to use not Gilliman flesh. That's a silly idea. Not Darko flesh either. Snakebite leather. Yeah, that's a good woody brown. Is it still viable as a paint though? Because I've not used it in a while. Doesn't look it. Right, we're going to get a quick whiz on the paint mixer and see if that does anything for us. Otherwise, we might have to think again. Oh, come on, paint mixer, mix. How are we doing now? Okay, that might work. Right, okay. Here we go. Snakebite leather. Let's give that a bit of a shake as well. Oh my word, that's thick. Right. Okay, plan B. Emergency thinning. Put a master medium, which isn't quite contrast medium, but it'll do for the business. Put a bit of that in. I think that's better than it was. Still a bit on the thick side. Oh, no, well, let's plough on. I'll have to get some more of that when I'm at Warhammer World. A few days' time. Not a few days' time. Probably around the weekend of the... When am I going to go there? The weekend of the 22nd, I think I'll probably end up there. That's my birthday weekend. This is my penultimate live stream as a 40-something year old man. So it is momentous. Right, okay, let's get that. I think Mick's got a birthday coming up as well. Thanks, Commander Autism. I think I'll be starting out poor, so there's no danger of me coming out much poorer than I went in. 14th. There we are. There we are. Another Virgo. You know what that means? Absolutely nothing. Because astrology is nonsense. Oh gosh. Wow. It's all coming out the woodwork now, isn't it? All these wonderful, wonderful people born in September. Makes you feel sorry for the rest, doesn't it, really? Came out with Nagash. Oh, you played... Oh, right, you bought Nagash. I'm sure you went in to play 40k. Well, you know why, don't you, mate? It's always going to be a busy month for birthdays, because in January there's not much to do other than create people that are going to be born in September. You know, it's being generally cold and miserable in January. Coffin lid. See, I bet your parents are kicking themselves for that, Jamie, because, you know, that's an awful lot of birthdays at once. They probably wanted to space you out, but slightly more than that. That's an expensive, expensive month. Unless you draw straws to see who's getting presents up that year. Which is what I'd do if I had kids. So it's probably the best that I don't have kids. Taking the bottom of the steak there, and brown, and he can have a snakebite leather beard, because why not? Well, he's been staked 3 times. Look, they really didn't want him coming back. There's one stake, big stake going through the middle there, and there's 2 other stakes, and they all go through him and poke through the other side. Don't know what he did, but they definitely didn't want him coming back. Makes me think whatever's on that scroll might be a spell or something to keep him down. See how effective that was. But then you've got him coming round and ripping everyone out of the ground. Oh, thank you, the terrain guy. Bit of a vote of confidence there. It's nice of you to say so. I'm glad I'm entertaining. Let's just do that in brown just so there's an actual colour on there. I mean, a lot of these little, I mean, you can see there's lots of little areas where there's no paint, but ultimately once the oil wash has gone on there and everything's sort of brought together, it'll look okay. Right, yeah. There we go. So she's been staked as well, because her husband probably had major regrets. Kind of reminds me of a live roleplay related song from the Lorien Trust by a chap called Lester the Jester. I wonder if it's on YouTube actually. Let me just have a quick look. Because if it is, I can point you there because it's a funny song. The bricks. Yes. I'm not going to sing the song. I mean, I could, but no, I can't remember the song. Right, so if you... Not now, obviously, because you're watching this, but once we're done here, if you go on YouTube, you know, because you're not already there at all, and look up a song called Till Death Do Us Part by The Bricks. Just do it. It's mostly safe for work. Mostly. But there's no swearing in it. But the subject matter's a bit sort of... Maybe don't listen to it with some very young kids around. And if you listen to it and you decide you like the Bricks, they've got a new album out, which I've not listened to. Apparently the mood is very different. They're very famous for doing sort of comedy songs, as you'll hear. Their new album, which they've called Difficult Second Album, I think is a bit more downbeat and serious. Yeah, the Bricks don't take themselves seriously at all. They're a lot of fun. Nearly done with the brown. And then we will go with a darker brown and just finish off. Then we'll put a little bit of... we will lighten the white on the bride's dress. Yeah, darker brown is going to be for the roots, I think. And for that we'll probably end up using wildwood. Because all these zombies have roots and all sorts of things growing through them. They're very... Love these miniatures, they are fantastic. Your mojo is going to have to return, Mick, because you pretty much said that you don't have a Chaos Army for AOS yet. Those were your words. And this will not stand. Ooh, right. Okay. Oh, so those gravestones are very wooden, which is a very sort of out that way kind of thing. Germany's got a lot of wooden gravestones. Wildwood. Oh, nobody needs orcs. Get on with the Chaos Army. do the roots and the zombie with the pearl earrings. $4,000 points of fire slayers. Man, you've got a problem. You and that Mr. Hammerlock guy, you've definitely got problems. So I'm just going through with wildwood at the moment and picking out all the bits of wood that I haven't done with snakebite. There's a lot going on here. Again, you'll notice that I'm not particularly fussed about keeping things neat on these at all, because they're rank and file. It doesn't matter, they're not going to be on the board being looked at in any real lasting way. You just need them to look together and look good together as a unit. And for as long as they're on the board, which probably won't be that long. Right, let's paint that as well. One thing I am going to do with these guys is use a bit of texture paint. Oh, I missed a decoration. Never mind. It would have more or less been this sort of brown anyway. Yeah, what I am going to do is use a bit of texture paint on top of the coffins and things, just to sell the earth. What I'll use is this muddy ground. But it won't stay muddy ground. It'll be eventually brushed over with something like shyish purple, which I think is how I did the bases. Yeah, shyish purple and a bit of glitter. Ooh, I forgot this dude's coffin lid. I forgot a bunch of coffin lids. Why did nobody tell me? Oh well. They've got different colour coffin lids now. Oh, you can't get the staff, can you? You really can't get the staff. You all had one job. One job. I'm just disappointed in you all now. Oh dear. Nice. Yeah, so I have to. Oh yeah, I'm going to go back over these and with a snake bite in a sec, and just do the coffin lids and snake bite so that there's a bit of coherency going on. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it, mate. Just tell me that I'm just that boring that you just doze off whilst I'm doing my live stream. Cheers, mate. Cheers. That's your tip used up. Oh, you've done it again. Forgot the roots and things. £150-mile drive. That's you know, that's not inconsiderable. I don't envy you. I mean, most days my commute's really quite grueling. My commute involves getting out of bed, taking about 10 steps, and I'm in the office. It's tough some days. Actually, no word of a lie, it is actually quite tough some days. There's a unique kind of stress that comes with living where you work. You don't get that disconnect, so you don't get to come home at the end of the day, if that makes any kind of sense. You are still in the place that you work, so you can't decompress as well. You quit your job, you nutter. Why? Actually, no. You probably had your reasons. But in this climate, Christ, mate. Mind you, they do like to try and claim there are more jobs out there and people looking for jobs, and that's probably true, but the jobs that are out there tend to be the jobs nobody wants to do, which is why they're out there. Oh well, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. That's probably the way you want to do it, really. 3 months is an awful lot of notice. They must like you there. Well, they're hoping you'll withdraw your resignation. Well, put her to one side. Yeah. Damn those officers and not having their act together. Well, I hope you find something decent, mate, because it is not a good time to be out of work at all, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. In fact, I dare say it's probably going to get an awful lot worse in the UK, that is. before it gets anywhere close to starting to get better, unfortunately. This is in no way a political message at all. It's just a statement of fact. Half an hour. I want to try and get to the wash stage, so I'm going to pick it up a bit. So if I go quiet, that's why, because I need to vaguely concentrate on picking it up a bit. Right, let's go there. Wildwood roots. There we go. Other side of that gravestone, wildwood. There we go. I suppose if worst comes to worst, it's not like you're short of miniatures to sell. Absolute nutter. For those of you who don't know, Mick is the guy who showed up. I mean, yes, it was as an afterthought to an AOS weekend with Say Hi Paul, who runs another YouTube channel, with a bunch of us, and he'd never played AOS before, didn't have any AOS armies, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure he'd correct me in a bit. And at the end of the weekend, he had 3,000 points of, was it 3,000? Possibly 3,500 points of Stormcast on order. Yeah. Doesn't do things by halves, does Armic. So I'm guessing he kind of likes AOS. That's the impression I get. Right, snake bite. I mean, to be fair, I kind of like AOS as well. It goes back and forth day to day whether I prefer 40k or AOS, depending on which codex I've read. But there's a lot about AOS to like, and if 10th Ed, I said this before, I think if 10th Ed turned out to be AOS in space, I wouldn't cry buckets. The rule system is very good, and very simple, and very playable, and very fun, which, without wanting to dump on 40k too much, is, I think, something that 40k is losing sight of, the fun aspect of it. Disappearing under a pile of specific army rules and stratagems and all sorts of other stuff. You've got that much to remember before a game. You shouldn't have to revise. I've said this before. I know I've said this before. You shouldn't have to revise before playing a war game. That should not be a thing. Seagulls? I don't have any seagulls. Oh, Kevin's got seagulls. Way to confuse me there, Chris. It's like, where have you seen seagulls? No. Right. More coffin tops. That's a snake. This is snakebite leather again, by the way, guys. That's what I said I was going to do. I was going to go back over the coffin tops with snakebite leather because I missed a bunch because basically because Mick failed. I'm blaming Mick. I'm blaming Mick because he's got a nice visible blue name. So it's all his fault. Picking up a partridge tomorrow. Aha! Broad shoulders and thick skin, mate. That's what you need. Well, Kevin, if you're getting a partridge, you're listening, Kev. You're listening, because this is important if you're getting a partridge. If you're going to be getting it long term, and it's still there sort of December time, you need to get a pear tree for it to sit in. Because that's the rules. Right, now I said I was going to lighten up the grey on the wedding dress. So this is grey sear. Just going to get most of it off. And just lighten up that wedding dress because we're going to go over it with one of the inks. Which is going to be neither here nor there because we're going to go over everything on all of them with an oil paint mix in a minute. But we kind of want this wedding dress to be kind of Do you know what? This is very off the shoulder to be a wedding dress. I mean, not that I'm judging, but you know, that's kind of a slinky number for a wedding dress. Maybe it's a costume, if you know what I mean. Right, there appears to be some yellow that's crept into this from somewhere. Possibly from the brown. Exactly, Commander Autism, exactly. So I'm just going to go over the... So there's a bit of a dry brush over the blonde hair, because there's a little bit of a yellow in it from the brown still, which works out well. Actually, let's get her hair done as well. So dry brush over it, get a bit of definition and contrast in there, so it looks like aged red hair. So she probably would have been in her late 40s, early 50s. Right, yeah, let's do that next bit that I was going to do. Soul Blight shit. Oh my god, these colours just separate. Huh? I said nothing. That's your husband. Take it up with your husband. Don't drag me into this. Yeah, the Soul Blight Grey is separated, so I'm just giving it a once over with the paint mixer. Oh my word! Look at that! Do not leave your new Formula Games Workshop paints for longer than about 5 minutes. Ridiculous. I was using this yesterday. I reckon they're going to start selling paint shakers soon. I think that's probably their plan. Right. Oh, now you see that works. That sounds very tasteful and in keeping with your aesthetic. That's very cool. What am I using to shake it? I'll show you. What are these? It's a tattoo ink shaker. You pick them up on Amazon for anything from about 20 to as much as you want to pay for it. Because some of them are lab grade, because they're also used for shaking test tubes. You don't need a lab grade one. You probably don't want to spend more than about 30 or 40 quid on one. Right, this is doing nothing. Doing absolutely nothing. It's just pushing the paint around. Alright, cool. Well, that's the lesson we've learned. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some Mortarian Grime, which is another shade. Did they do an airbrush? I must have missed their airbrush. You're welcome. See, Commander Autism, that's how you do it. You don't make out that your wife needs staking. Oh, doghouse. Someone rigged it as a flamethrower. Why does that not surprise me? Right, yeah, so this is Mortarian Grime, which is another one of those shades, which is probably also kind of redundant, but it's adding a little bit of tint to the flesh, which is vaguely what we're after. I think it might be a bit redundant once we get the oil paint mix on there, but we'll see. Oh, I've missed some roots on there. Don't get pressing on. Anyone looks at this miniature and says, "Oh, you missed a few roots there," then they need to have a word with themselves. Yeah, so this is Mortarian Grime going on over the grey, and it's actually quite cool. But like I say, it's going to get covered up with the black brown ink when it gets applied. Black brown oil paint, sorry. You have grey trousers. Why do you have grey trousers? I'll do something about that. You can have Gargax Sewer brown trousers. You appear to have a manacle that I didn't spot. This is another thing which is great about these miniatures. If you want to go to town on detail, the detail's there for you to do so. See, this Mortarian Grime over the grey is coming out to be quite a nice sort of rotting flesh colour. And then if you weren't going to later go over it with oil paints and blend everything together like that, there's a bird on there. Why didn't I notice the bird? I know what I'm going to use for that. I'll put that aside for a second. Yeah, I mean, if you weren't going to later go over it in oil paints and do an effective oil wash over everything, then you could almost just leave it at this for a very quick paint job. Why am I going over it in oil paints? You'll see. That's all I can say, really. It's a really cool effect. You get really nice blends, and it just pulls everything together like nothing else. It's just a fantastic technique. technique involves going over everything in quite a thick, I say quite thick, in a layer of oil paint, and then you go back over it with makeup brushes and makeup sponges, sorry, and pull everything, pull the oil paint off the raised areas, so it ends up being left in the recesses. So, reductive paint method. It's just, well, you'll see in a minute. Nearly at that stage yet. This Mortarian Grime's really quite good. If you were going to go for this en grisaille type style, it really does work quite well as a one-stop shop for pallid rotting skin over quite a dark battleship grey. Very nice. Shows up particularly well on that one. I like him. Very cool. Hello, Garrison Kunst. Welcome, welcome. You can tell he's a painter, that Garrison Kunst guy, because his name is literally art. Right, what was I going to do with him? Why are you in the naughty corner? Why? What have you done? Oh, bird. Paint the bird. What are we going to do with you? We are not going to... Oh, could do that. Could also do... Yeah, let's do that instead. Shyish Purple. Shyish Purple Raven. Because Shyish Purple is a proper dark purple. Which means you're going to end up with something that looks black with sort of purplish highlights on it. Which is entirely what you want for a bird in Shyish. Yeah, maybe need some dry brushing as well. Well, we'll see, we'll see. Right, okay. Ooh, I think we are about ready for... Ooh, spotted something else. There we go. Mr. Skull. Right, to the land of finding my oil paints. Where are they? They are there. Right, okay, what do we need? We need burnt senna or burnt umber? Let's go with burnt umber instead. That's a nice dark brown. And we will go with some ivory black. And we will fish out the... Right, I'm conscious of time. I don't want to go too much over because I start work fairly early in the morning. So I will pick the driest. BRAAAIINS. Yes, I did, mate. Yes, it's up on my Instagram. Yeah, it's all up there. Right, so I'm going to pick the dry. Let's go with Vermeer Girl. It's been a while since she's had paint applied to her, so we'll do that. So we're going. Yeah, let's use that. So it's a bit of burnt umber, and we're going to mix this for almost 50-50. So burnt umber oil and ivory black oil, side by side. 50-50. Actually, I'm going to go slightly more burnt umber than ivory black. There we are. And then we get a paintbrush, like so. In fact, I'm going to use a different one. That's slightly more battered. Going to mix those all together. Oils are fantastic for mixing. A little bit of white spirit. Where did I put the white spirit? I fished it out. Right, okay, let's mix that down a bit. Tiny bit of white spirit just to thin it down a bit, because you don't want it too thick. So it's a sort of a thick wash consistency you're going for there. You want to get coverage, but you don't want to get too much coverage. And then what you do is, over all this colour you've done, you paint it all brown. Get it all over everything. I'm just going to wait for the white spirit to cure off a little bit there, so we'll crack on getting some paint on these guys as well. No, it won't. Plastic cup, white spirit, not going to dissolve it. Who am I going to call? Ghostbusters? I guess. Aren't they ones we traditionally call? There we go. So we're not taking any kind of care over this at all. And this is her with a wedding dress. This is just going into all the nooks and crannies. I think we're going to have enough, hopefully. So this is the other brown sauce I use. Okay, that's odd. Must have been a strange kind of plastic. or a strange kind of white spirit. If it had been an acetone or something like, oh, right. Gloss the banister. You sure it was white spirit? It wasn't some sort of acetone? Because that might dissolve plastic. I don't know, I'm guessing. Yeah, this isn't dissolving the plastic. Acetone is what you get if you want to dissolve down your sprues to make sprue goo. Home base, home brand white spirit. How odd! How odd! Okay, important safety announcement. Don't buy home base, home brand white spirit, because it apparently does things that you don't want it to do. Right, okay. Next little trick, a little toy, which regulars on my channel will already be aware of, are these things. Eye makeup sponges for makeup and eyes, for taking it off, putting it on, one or the other, both, I don't know. It has been a long time since I've worn any kind of eye makeup, and these weren't around at the time, so. And what we're doing is we're just going to go over the miniature and just take that oil layer, because oil just takes ages to dry. Just take a lot of that oil layer off the miniature and it will leave it in the crevices. Like so. And it makes for really neat blends, and oh, it's just such a cool technique. Need a backstory on that? Oh yeah, possibly. I mean, I used to be in my youth a goth, so there we are. Backstory. Not that interesting, I'm afraid. Emo phase. No, I'm too old to be an emo. Goth, mate. No, not a goth. You can see how that ties everything together, you see. It's particularly striking on her with the pearl earrings. It dulls everything down, gives everything a nice sort of dark, sort of grimdark look as well. And you get some lovely blends. It's just, oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Give it a go. Get you something. This oil paint set, I think, for... a dozen, maybe 20 oil paints, just cheapy things. I think it was just shy of a tenner. I mean, there's no real reason not to. They're just so dirt cheap. Might as well just sort of give it a go. And if you don't like it, so what? But the technique is really very cool. Okay. And if you want slightly more to come off than is coming off, you can dip your sponge in the white spirit and brush over even more lightly, and you get an extra level of highlight for absolute free. So I think we'll do that on our Vermeer girl. Try and get some of that yellow back. Just ever so lightly, just over the Very, very raised areas. And you pull back an awful lot of the colour. It's brilliant. I've used this technique on all sorts of miniatures. It's also the thing I do with streaking grime. And there we go then. Eyeshadow applicators. I used a brush. Not that I really used eyeshadow, it was mostly eyeliner and kohl. KOHL. Not KOAL, not COAL. I think we're making progress here, folks. I mean, bar the basing, I think we're going to get mostly inside the 2 hours. The zombies done, and there's a little bit of white spirit on this still, and we're just sort of brushing it over the top to get the colour back on the raised areas. Yeah, brushes are the way forward. I use makeup brushes when I'm painting as well. Use them for dry brushing because they're perfect for that. You know, they're soft bristles, which is exactly what you need for dry brushing most of the time. Soft bristles, and generally cheap as well, which is another consideration. Oh, these guys are definitely looking like they crawled out of the ground. Liking this a lot. Right, many zombies, all now done. Very grimdark. Loving it. Wow. How cool are they? I'll get those out of shot. In fact, if I grab that, I can pop them on a base. Just slightly lighter in colour and movable to the camera so I can get them in focus. Right? Are they not fantastic? Oh, wow, really blowing my own trumpet there, aren't I? I think they look good. I hope you do too, because they've been an awful lot of fun to paint. Before I go, because it is getting towards that time, it's past that time in fact, 10 minutes over, what I'm going to do is I'll just go through the recipe for the Shaiish bases I've done, which is really, oh, it's not that, I was about to reach for the wrong thing of what's it, which made sense when I said it. Alright, I use that, which is Geek Gaming Scenics Woodland Path Premix, as you can see on this chap. Actually, hell with it, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. The recipe requires that, because that's good and dry. I can leave that. It needs some Druky Violet. And it needs some Shaish Purple. And it is accomplished thusly. Let's get that brush cleaned up. That's the same brush I used for the oil paint, so this is going to be interesting. Let's get that on there. Let's get a bit of water involved there. Just thin it down a bit so it runs a bit better. So I want to dab that around. I'm just trying to knock the colour out and sort of give it a nice sort of purplish wash. There we go. That's stage one. That's the Shaish Purple done with. Druky Violet. Dab that around as well. So there we've got a very, very dark purpley earth colour. And because I'm me, and this is generally how I roll, if I can find them, is that it? That's not it. That's not it either. BRAAAAIINS indeed. Right, okay, purple. Is that the right shade of purple? Yeah, that's obviously the right shade of purple. It's the only purple I've got. Glitter. Now, glitter is rightly known as crafting herpes, because once you use glitter, you have got it forever, everywhere. It spreads. Very much like herpes. So we're going to be super careful with this, and we're not going to spill it or blow it everywhere. Only need a tiny, 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 tiny bit. And we're just adding little accents of amethyst shine to this, because amethyst is the stuff that Shaish is supposedly made of. It's the stuff of death magic. Oh, there's the cat. The cat wants something. Oh. All is death, all is ruin. And that's it, pretty much. So you get a little bit of a sparkle, but it's still subtle enough so that when it's just going to catch the light as you move your head around. But it's not like, wow, that's a glitz base. It's just sort of a little bit of sparkle. And I think we're going to leave it there. Okay, folks, thanks very much for dropping by. I hope you've enjoyed that. I certainly have. If you're not already a channel subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and that notification bell, and comment, and all the usual things that everyone asks you to do at the end of YouTube videos, because it helps the channel grow and gives me enthusiasm and encourages me. Sometimes we all need a bit of encouragement. Next week I will think of something to do, because as I mentioned, it's going to be my last live stream as a 40-year-old man before I suddenly become a 40-year-old man only a year older. So I will have to find something vaguely special to do. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that. It might be the Baneblade. It might be this beast. Possibly. Right. Yep. Okay. So that's me for the night. I wish you all a good night. Take care of yourselves, and ta-ta for now.